I knew something was wrong the second her plane took off, before the lies had time to settle, before the guilt even had room to breathe. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way my wife typed relax. With that casual indifference, as if she hadn't just flown across the country with the one man I'd spent our entire marriage pretending wasn't a threat. I stared at that text for a long time. Long enough for the words to blur. Long enough for anger to become something colder, something steadier. Because here's the truth I never told anyone until now. I didn't believe her. Not for a second. But I played along. Okay, I replied. Enjoy your conference. My hands were shaking when I sent it. Because while she thought I was home, clueless and trusting, I was already driving toward the one place she never wanted me to see. It all started 2 weeks earlier with something so small I almost ignored it. She came home late, hair too neat, clothes too carefully straightened, lipstick too freshly reapplied for someone who claimed to be exhausted from work. When I hugged her, she pulled away like my arms were a question she didn't want to answer. I didn't accuse her. I didn't even ask. Instead, I sat on the couch that night, pretending to watch TV while her phone buzzed beside her. She angled the screen away from me. I pretended not to notice. I told myself I was imagining things because that's what you do when you're willing to destroy your own peace just to keep your marriage whole. But lies have a smell. And eventually, you learn to stop breathing it in. The morning she left for the conference, she kissed me goodbye with lips that tasted like goodbye. Her suitcase was lighter than usual. She didn't notice I watched her add a folded shirt to her carry-on, one I'd never seen her wear, one that looked like something he used to compliment her on. Her ex, the ghost she promised she buried long ago. I didn't say a word. Instead, I waited until her Uber pulled away and then grabbed her laptop, the one she never used at home but always took on trips. She wasn't careless, she was comfortable. Too comfortable. Her passwords were saved, synced automatic. One click and the truth opened like a wound. Messages. Flights. Photos. His name. His face. Their plans. She didn't book this trip last week. She booked it a month ago. With him. One hotel room. One bed. And all this time she'd been telling me, "You worry too much." Nothing's changed. I didn't cry. I didn't break anything. I didn't scream. I just sat there, holding her entire betrayal in my hands, feeling something inside me harden into resolve. She wanted me to relax. Fine. I would. But not the way she thought. When her plane landed, she sent a selfie with some generic airport background and a caption. "Already missing you, red heart." I almost laughed. Almost. What time does the conference start? I typed. A pause. Then. Later. Don't stress everything. Relax. Relax. Again. As if the word could erase the image of her smiling at him in her messages. As if it could wash away the sound of his voice notes telling her he missed her. Relax. So I did. I drove to the small storage unit we rented 2 years earlier when we moved into our house. She insisted we get the extra space just in case. She also insisted on handling the account herself. I'd never questioned why. But now, as I unlocked the door with the spare key I'd quietly taken from her drawer that morning, I felt everything click into place. Inside the unit was a life I never knew she built. A life she planned without me. A suitcase. Clothes. Makeup. Jewelry I never saw her wear. A photoshoot-style picture of her and her ex. Recent. Intimate. Undeniable. A stack of love letters, newer ones on top. A second phone. My throat tightened. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was preparation. This was her exit plan. And she thought I'd never find it. I took photos, clear, undeniable, time-stamped. Every secret, every betrayal, every quiet knife she'd been hiding behind her smile. Then I locked the unit, sat in my car and waited. It took 4 hours for her to check into the hotel. She sent another text, something light and playful. Flight was smooth. Gonna shower and rest, red heart. She wasn't alone. I knew that because I'd already called the hotel earlier, pretending to confirm a joint reservation. 2 guests, 1 room. Her name. His name. The woman I loved was in a hotel bed with another man. And she still wanted me to relax. So I sent her 1 photo. Not of them together. Not of anything dramatic. Just the picture of her storage unit door cracked open, with the corner of the suitcase sticking out. Her eyes only needed that much to understand everything. Her first reply came in seconds. Where are you? Then, why were you there? Another. Please don't jump to conclusions. Then, can we talk? But the one that broke something in her, truly broke her, was the final message I sent. I'm not the one you need to explain anything to. He is. I'm done. Then I turned my phone off. She came home 3 days later. Alone. Eyes swollen. Shoulders slumped like someone who lost a war they started. She tried to talk. She cried. She begged. She blamed stress, mistakes, confusion. She said she thought she was unhappy. She said she didn't know what she wanted. But that storage unit said otherwise. And so did the hotel receipt I left neatly on the kitchen counter. She asked if we could start over. If we could fix it. If we could pretend this was just a crack we could patch. I looked at her for a long time. Really looked at her. And realized she wasn't someone who shattered my heart. She was someone I'd already walked away from. I hope you find whatever you were looking for, I said quietly, calmly. Those were the last words I ever spoke to her. It's been 6 months now. People ask if I'm okay. If I regret leaving. If I ever think about revenge. But the truth is that wasn't revenge. Revenge would have been public, loud, explosive. What I gave her was something far heavier. The weight of losing someone who loved her without ever needing to raise his voice. The knowledge that she destroyed the version of me who trusted her. And she'll never meet that man again. And that one photo, it didn't expose her. It exposed everything she'd been running from. Some people say closure comes from forgiveness. For me, closure came from a storage unit door swinging open, quietly, simply, inevitably. And from realizing that sometimes the most powerful revenge is walking away before the other person even realizes the fire they set has finally reached them.